On this day, the 23rd of December, 1793, the Battle of Savenay took place in the Vendee, a region of France near the mouth of the Loire River. The battle took place between French Republicans and the Royal and Catholic army that was resisting this new republic. The French Revolution had begun in 1789. By the end of the year, the monarchy had been transformed into a constitutional monarchy. The rights of man had been declared. The States General had been replaced by the National Assembly. In many ways, the French Revolution had been completed. However, the radicals took control soon after. By 1793, by this day, the king had been executed, the queen had been executed, many thousands more were going to the guillotines. And not all Frenchmen were supporting this new regime. Many wanted to have the king back. Many did not like the atheism of this new republic, and many decided to resist. The Vendee is a famous part of France because it was the place where resistance to this new republic was most fierce. As a result, up to 200,000 people were killed in the Vendee, and there was a guerrilla war that went on for many years. One battle that took place was the Battle of Savenay. Now, they had already been defeated at the Battle of Le Mans on the 12th of December, and thousands of Vendéens fled back into the Loire and hoped to get over back to the Vendée, and hoped to get over the Loire back into the Vendée. But once they got to the river, they didn't really have boats. So they started building small boats, and a few thousand of them managed to get across. However, the Republican army came up on their rear, and they didn't really have anything left to do except turn and fight, or flee into the river and drown. And you will see that drown many did. One of the things that they did in the Vendée, regularly they'd bring people out into the rivers and they would drown them, stick their heads underwater, and then float the bodies down to the sea. So what happened in the Vendée was, in many ways, well, if it wasn't for the fact that they were both French, it would have been considered a genocide. It was particularly brutal in this place. So, Savenay, it's a town by the river, and it was taken on the 22nd of December. So, there was some small skirmishes between the Vendéens and some Republicans, and they were able to take the town. This was before the big battle. The battle began early the next day, when the Vendéens were the first to attack out of the city of Savenay to try to break the siege. What they needed to do was get to the river and get across. Now, the Republicans managed to get into the city, and there was street fighting. There was artillery that was being used by the Vendéens against the Republicans. At times, the Republicans would capture some of these cannons and turn it on the Vendéens. But by the afternoon, the battle was over, and most of the troops had either been killed or had fled. So now, it was the time of the flight and the massacres. So the Republicans were celebrating their victory, but part of their army was still chasing the Vendeans, going through villages in the countryside, killing and capturing anyone they could find. And they, in one position, they managed to surround 500 Vendeans, and they were fighting very well. They couldn't defeat them. So the Republicans, they proposed that the Vendeans surrender, and then they could go home and they'd be fine. Well, you know what happened here. They were all shot. And then they went throughout the countryside, and for about 8 days executed anyone they suspected of being either a soldier in this Royal Catholic Army or being a supporter. Someone says, one Republican said, boasted that he had 1,500 people executed. We don't really know how many were killed in this battle, but we do know quite a few. And we also know that this was only a part of the wider war against the Vendee. So, on this day, 23rd of December, 1793, the Republicans defeat the Royal and Catholic Army of the Vendee at the Battle of Savenay. If you like these videos, come back for more tomorrow. Like, subscribe, and comment.